You'll find a Mets fan. Let's go. This is a Mets year. For all your Mets here, let's go. Bring it home. Bring it home. Bring it home
exciting, thrilling, awesome. Let's take a look.
What's up, Met fans? Welcome back to Talking Mets with Rob. How is everybody doing on this Saturday, May 13th, and a Saturday mid-afternoon type of game? The Mets finally get back in the win column yesterday, beating the Nationals 3-2 on a clutch 3-run single from Francisco Lindor. And it was nice to see that we finally got a big freaking hit. It's been a while. It has been a major problem. The runners have been on base. They have not been able to bring them in. It was nice to see finally somebody break through and get the job done. And Francisco Lindor, who, let's be honest, is having one of the weirdest years that I've seen from a player in a very long time, right? You wouldn't think he has 30 RBIs. You wouldn't think that he's been when it comes to statistic-wise, the most clutch player on this team right now and the most extra base hits, even though yesterday wasn't an extra base hit. It is a very odd season for Francisco Lindor, but he did come through yesterday. And when it comes down to everything yesterday, there's one thing that should be talked about a little bit more than the Francisco Lindor 3-run single to put the Mets in the lead 3-2 was you got a quality start that didn't manage to put the team behind an 8-ball 3, 4, 5-run deficit. And now when you had a 5, which you should expect from a guy like Tyler McGill, who most likely wouldn't have been in this rotation if everybody was healthy, he only gave up 2 runs in 5 innings, which is a quality start. Nowadays, if you really look at the statistics around baseball, 5 innings, 2 runs, I take that every day from Tyler McGill. And guess what 5 innings, 2 runs does? it gives you a chance to get that one big hit instead of being down 3, 4, 5 runs where you would need multiple big hits with runners on throughout a game to get back into a ball game. That's what a quality start does. Where if you give like a Senga, if he would have gave you 5 or 6 innings, 2 runs, it gives your offense a chance to come back in a ball game. So that one big hit doesn't turn into 2 or 3 big hits just to get him back into the ball game. That one big hit changed the entire game. And again, we can always talk about, well, they had multiple times to get runners in. Absolutely. They need to get better with that. But you see what happens when a quality start still gives you offensive chance to win a ball game or get a chance of getting back into a ball game. Again, how many times this year were you down 4 or 5 runs by the 5th inning, and now you need multiple hits just to get back into a ball game? And that is something that, let's be honest, we're not waiting for a 3-run home run there, right? A base hit would have tied the game, and base hit with the VENMO hustle got that 3rd run in, and it turned the entire game around. The bullpen came in and done its job, and that is something that the Mets did extremely well last year, right? And when you get quality starts, I know that's been a stretch this year for this Mets team, but quality starts is basically all this Mets team needs, especially in offense that don't hit a lot of home runs. But you know what? 1 or 2 mistakes there only requires you to get just one big hit, and it can change the complexion of a ball game. So once again, guys, thank you for tuning in to Mets pregame live, and we'll take you right into the 4 o'clock start with Mets and Nationals at Nationals Park. Game 2, the Mets are actually trying to go for a 2-game winning streak. How about that, guys? But you know what? With all said and done, before I get started talking about the lineup and the pitching matchup and everything else like that, it was nice to see that somebody finally stepped up and came through, right? There's been a massive struggle throughout this entire lineup, and it was nice to see somebody come through. So once again, guys, don't forget to please hit on that like button. Let's get more people in this stream on this Saturday afternoon. If you're in New York, you got a beautiful day. Mostly around the country, it's a beautiful day around the country. So a lot of people are going to be enjoying it, and that's understandable, right? You don't get a lot of days like this, especially if you're in New York, and it's starting to look like it's going to stay nice in New York, and that's about damn time. So once again, please hit on that like button. And if you're a new subscriber to the channel, welcome to the channel, guys. Say what up. Let me know where you're from. Let me know if you're a Mets fan or not a Mets fan, and then we can go from there. So once again, nice to see somebody come through finally. And at this point, I don't really give a damn who it is, but somebody did come through. Again, when you have a Mets team that is scoring 4.25 runs per game, and your pitching can give you 2 or 3 runs per game for the opponents, runs per game would be nice, right? Even if they knock it down to 4 runs per game, that gives your offense an opportunity to win ball games where you don't have to have 3, 4, 5 hits in a row just to get back into a ball game. And I keep on repeating myself because of the fact that when your pitching staff gives up 7.5 runs per ball game and you're averaging offensively 4.5 runs per ball game, there's no margin for error for your offense. So, and again, yesterday, the Mets were once again behind early in a game. But McGill, in a quality start, limited the damage to the point where he came out with only 2 runs. The bullpen kept it to 2 runs. And guess what? The Mets came back in a ball game. So, again, we got Joey Lucchesi on the mound with our old friend Trevor Williams on the mound for the Nationals. And the last time Trevor Williams faced the Mets beat him up. And that's what they got to do again. Again, maybe they get a little bit of confidence yesterday. You saw from the manager to the players how much that win needed to happen, and it mattered to those guys yesterday, and how much there was I wouldn't say a sigh of relief, but you saw the emotion from the players, and you saw a different type of Buck managing when it came to the bullpen. When they had to use Robertson for almost 2 innings, Drew Smith came in and got the last out, right? Even Buck Showalter know he needed that game. He did not worry about the next day, which is today. That's a big thing that we've talked about with Buck Showalter was that he's too concerned about the following day that it might actually make a problem for that game that he's currently managing. And what did he do? He kept Robinson in. He pitched Ottavino in the 7th, brought in Robinson for the 8th, brought him in for the 9th, got the 2 outs, but was a little bit shaky. But again, he threw 40-plus pitches in 2 innings. And again, for a guy who's supposed to be a closer, you didn't want to extend him to 50 pitches there because you might not have him for the rest of the series, to be honest with you guys. So guess what? You took him, and that was a great move by Buck because it's, you know what, even though it might be a sign of the times that the Mets are in right now, but it was a little bit of a desperation move. And guess what? I have no problem with that. When you want your best, when you need that win, you use your best reliever. And if it means you're not going to have him today and possibly tomorrow, which I don't think that would be a possibility, but most likely he might not be here for game 2 and 3. But you made sure you did everything you can to win yesterday's game, especially when you finally got that big hit to give you the lead. You have to use your best guys. And I think Buck did a great job yesterday where he was like, you know what, I'm going to put Ottavino in the 7th, even though he's in my 8th inning guy. And then he used Robinson in the 8th inning, knowing he was going to use him in the 9th, knowing most likely if he doesn't have 2 quick innings that he's not going to be able to pitch today for sure. And then Drew Smith with a big 1-out strikeout to end the game and got his first Major League save. And that was something that I love to see from Buck Showalter. I can care less about the next day, right? When you're struggling the way the Mets are, and as bad as the Mets are, it took the Mets to go through a 20-game stretch of basically winning 3 or 4 games in a 20-game stretch for the Mets to only be a half a game out of a wild card and a game and a half out of the first wild card. And of course, the Braves lost yesterday. And after all of this, and as bad as the Mets are in a 20-game stretch, right? The Mets only are 6.5 games from first place in the division. And again, it's too early to talk about a division with today, the 40th game of the season. But you have to remember, guys, as bad as the Mets are, and you can critique this team to all hell. You can critique any part of this team, and I won't have an argument with you. But what you have to look at it is the fact that you got the Padres who are in the wild card situation. You got the Brewers who are really coming back down to earth, right? Who are probably going to win the division, but everybody else in that division are 500, right? And you got the West, that besides the Dodgers, everybody's 500 or worse. So the Mets are in the mix in the wild card from the first wild card to the third wild card. And the Mets, as bad as they've been over the last 20 games, and it's been terrible, they're only 6.5 games out of a division for the first place in the division. So, we go crazy and go insane, and I see it's raining in Washington right now. Of course, that's probably the only place in America that's actually not looking nice out, but we'll see. Again, they're showing roses right now, and they have some water on it, and it looks cloudy there, so hopefully we get the game in and get it on time. So, again, guys, it really does not matter how you get to the playoffs. If it's 86 wins, if it's 95 wins. Again, everybody would like to win 105 games and win your division, right? But look at the National League and tell me a team that has high hopes to be contenders this year. You can probably count 2, maybe 3 teams that have shown somewhat dominance, and I wouldn't even call it dominance, because even the Braves that took 2 out of 3 against the Mets struggled to take 2 out of 3 against the Mets. As bad as the Mets are right now, they worked hard for that 2 out of 3. And it just comes back to the same thing over and over again. The Braves are a really good team. Nobody's going to deny that. But after the 20-game stretch, if the Mets would have played 500 baseball in the 20 games and weren't 4-16 or 5-15, if they were a 500 ball club, the New York Mets would be probably a game and a half out of first place if the Mets just played 500 ball. So as bad as the Mets played, they should be 13 games back right now. But you know what? The Braves started to get a couple of injuries with their rotation, right? They haven't played necessarily great baseball, like a stretch where they're like, 14 out of their 15. They might have one of those because they seem like they have one every year, but they've been playing really good baseball, but they haven't played dominant baseball yet. And the Braves Chris Bassett shut down the Braves. I mean, come on. A complete game shutout? Like, let's be honest. I mean, Chris Bassett must have sold his soul to the devil because the last time he faced the Braves, he got rocked in one of the most important games for the Mets. And, well, professional, I agree they got second half pedigree, but usually when you have second half pedigree, you're getting healthier. You're not getting more hurt. And that is the problem with the Braves right now. And the Braves are the same team. And that's why when people are like, are the Braves a great team? Yes. But they are a flawed team as well. If they don't hit home runs, they don't win. And it's very simple. You keep that team in the ballpark. And that was the big reason why they took 2 out of 3 against the Mets, because the game that the Mets won, they kept them in the ballpark. And again, you see the games that the Braves lose. If they don't hit multiple home runs in a ball game, they lose. It's just very simple. And they're a good team. And they're a really good team. And nobody's going to take that away from them, right? All the times that I get destroyed by Dodger fans that I call them that they won a fake World Series. And then I always go back to the Braves winning a real World Series and the credit they get. And I always give them credit. And I always try to be as fair as possible on this channel because I think that if you're a fair baseball fan, every fan base will respect you. The majority of them, not the trolls, the majority of them will respect the fact that you can tell a really good team and you can actually be biased. You can be unbiased when it comes to your team, because I'm not going to lie about that because there's no need to be. And professionally, exactly. And that is the big reason why, because I can tell you right now, if one of those struggle, because when the Mets were facing the Braves, the bullpen was a problem for the Braves at that moment, right? The reason why the Braves have been as good as they've been and have that 6.5 game lead hasn't really been because of the offense. Because if you look at the offensive numbers, besides the home run total, offensively they haven't been good. They're one of the highest teams in baseball in strikeouts, right? They're not a very high walk team, right? But again, they are a team that if you keep them in the ballpark, you got a very good chance of beating them. Again, it's hard to do that because they hit a ton of home runs. And again, and that's why I say, when you look at teams around baseball, every lineup is flawed. Even though Daniel Murphy, looks like Johnny Bench, but when you put him in a lineup that has all that protection, Murphy's going to be a better hitter. It's just that simple. When he's in Oakland with no protection at all, he doesn't look like a great hitter or a great power hitter. Right now in the Braves, he's getting more pitches to hit because of the lineup he's in. And that's all the credit in the world to him, but that's just facts. But we keep on looking at it, and the people that continue to say how we score the runs, and again, do you think the Braves care that they score them about 85% of their runs based on home runs? No, they don't care. And that's why Met fans shouldn't care how the Mets score runs. Everybody should care about is how you did you win the ball game? And that goes for the Phillies, that goes for the Mets, that goes for the Braves, or anybody else that is so concerned about how you score the runs. Because I can care less if we win every game 3-2 over the next 10 games. Why do you care about how they score their runs? It really does not matter. It really doesn't. Because when the Braves face a really good pitching staff and they got pitchers on the mound that are strikeout pitchers, they have a hard time because they're a high strikeout team that rely for the majority of their runs by the home run ball. And you know what? The Phillies are the same way. They're a high strikeout team. And again, you know what? Why haven't I seen Philly fans in this stream? You know why? Because for all the talk that they talked in the offseason after their World Series stint, which I gave them all the credit with their run, they are the same exact team that they were last year. They got hot for a month and a half, but they're basically the same team. Well, Ozuna finally got hot after a month, right? Harris, he was hurt, so I expect Harris to be good because he is. Arcia, you know what, the amount of luck the Braves have when it comes to Arcia, who, Grissom was supposed to be their guy when Braves fans couldn't wait to kill Swanson on the way out when he was one of your good guys. So, and again, it's not always about, we critique our own team, but it's like we're afraid to critique other teams when people are like, oh, how can the Mets contend against the Braves? Well, you're not just contending against the Braves. And again, as good as the Braves have been, and as bad, and it's very hard to be worse than what the Mets have been over a 20-game stretch. They're half a game out of the wild card and a game and a half out of first place of a wild card, the first wild card spot, and only 6.5 games out of a division spot at the moment in the first 40 games of the year. So the people says, oh, you can't win that way. Again, it comes back to the same thing over and over again. Make sure you look at the last 10 years and look at teams winning the World Series. Look at their records and look where they were at this point of the year, or even the halfway mark, which we're not even close from there yet. So the game is about to start, guys. Let me get to the lineups really, really quickly. Let me just share my screen, and we'll be ready to go for Mets Nationals Game 2. Alrighty, guys. So this is the lineup for our New York Mets. It is Brandon Nimmo leading off, very similar lineup. Brandon Nimmo leading off, playing center field, batting first. McNeil, left field, batting second. Lindor, shortstop, batting third. Pete Alonso cleaning up, playing first base. Brett Beatty, batting fifth, playing third base. Starlin Marte in the lineup again, batting sixth, playing right field. Danny Vogelbach, DH, and batting seventh. Luis Guillorme playing second base, batting eighth. And Michael Perez catching, batting ninth. Again, I'm not shocked. 6 straight days catching from Francisco Alvarez. And it was a night game after a day game after a night game. So I'm not shocked. You got to give Alvarez a break every now and then. And if there's a spot in this game where he might have to pinch hit, he probably will. So Mets Nationals Game 2, Brandon Nimmo coming to the plate. Trevor Williams on the mound for the Nationals. Don't forget, guys, to please hit on that like button and let me know in the comments, guys, if you can hear the audio. Here we go, guys. See if the Mets can get their second win in a row, and let's make it happen, guys.
Brandon Nimmo leads off against Trevor Williams, and it's the first pitch high in the
And
area.
that ball, first pitch,
Call comes in,
1 out.
Call, 1 pitch, and 1 retired.
Trevor Williams is coming off his toughest start this season. Only lasted 4 1/3 against the Diamondbacks. Gave up 5 earned runs, including 2 long balls.
So 1 out and nobody on. Here's Jeff McNeil, moved up to the 2 spot of the batting order. Buck Showalter flipped McNeil and Lindor. He had Lindor hitting second and McNeil third since they moved Marte down earlier this week. But now Buck go up with McNeil in the 2-hole.
All right, excuse me. So Jeff McNeil is batting second. Excuse me, guys. I'm sorry about that. That's my fault. Let me just change that around.
This is just purely my opinion that it likes that third hole. He's told the Buck that he doesn't mind where he hits in the lineup.
Had 2 hits last night. He's now hitting .339 lifetime against Washington. Lindor hitting third. That's loaded the bases the first inning last night. Didn't score. They've scored 9 first-inning runs in 39 games this season. McNeil fouls back the fastball from Williams, 1-2. Trevor faced the Mets in New York on April 27th. Pitched 3 good innings and then 1 bad inning. Gave up 4 runs in 5 innings.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to I'm shocked that the Mets are going to send up Mauricio, who he has a 50% swing rate, and he still has high strikeouts. Got it down a lot, but he still has a lot of strikeouts. And that is the thing too. Again, everybody wants these kids up, and I'm cool with that. But again, Vientos in the minors is hitting lefties and righties. If you look at the splits for Mauricio, he's not hitting left-handers very well. And if you're going to bring this guy up, you got to play him every day. Popped it up, it should be 2 outs, and it is. Well, Mark, that is the thing right now. It's still not, the Mets won 101 games with basically the same lineup and the lack of power. Do we need more power? Absolutely. But there's teams that score runs in many different ways. And again, we'll see. And again, you know what? Canna, Marte, Lindor, basically, average-wise, is not hit into the back of their baseball cards. And you know what? Even Alonso, for the first 3 weeks of the season, was hitting over 300. Now he's hitting like 230, 240.
It's kind of like Casey Stengel said about Greg Goosen in spring.
I know people are talking about Vientos, but you know what? Everybody wanted Beatty and Alvarez who were knocking the ball all over the yard, specifically Beatty, who was hitting home runs, it seemed, every other at-bat. And Lindor pops it up, and it should be the end of the inning, and it is. 8-pitch inning for Williams, and now time for Joey Lucchesi to come on the mound in the bottom of the first. It is drizzling in National Park in D.C. right now. And I agree. But again, we're so concerned about power, but power also brings strikeouts as well, right? Again, I have no problem getting power. But you know what you need just other than power? How about just give me a guy that is a run producer? If it comes along with the guy having some power, can you give me a guy that's a 20 home run guy or even an 18 to 50? Give me somebody that's 16 to 20 home run guy that is a run producer. And that was the big deal when people were like, oh, we need power, power, power. Give me a guy that is a run producer. And again, we kill Lindor as probably every single day, but Lindor last year and the start of this year is a run producer, right? He doesn't hit for major power, but he already has 30 home runs this year in a little over a month of the season. And he's on track to have just over 100 RBIs. Again, we need a run producer. We need a gap-to-gap hitter. And you know what? When you don't have Marte doing anything, when you don't have Canna doing anything, who are guys that hit 15 to 17 home runs, and I think combined they might have 3 together, that's a problem. And not even just the home runs. It's just the run producing, especially from Marte, which is a problem. And it comes back to the same thing. We worry about how we score the runs, and we're only concerned about power, which is not the only way to score runs, guys. I know Major League Baseball just wants power, but again, just because we speed up the game doesn't mean the quality of the game is better, because strikeouts are still up. Averages are, 10 points higher, which is not drastic at all. And again, Frank, exactly. Let's see if we actually not put up a 0 in the first inning. So let's see if Casey can do that on this rainy day in D.C.
Lane Thomas takes a rip at a fastball, and this is 0-1. Thomas 0 for 4 last night.
I agree, professional, but you know what? Guys like Canna, who usually put the bat on the ball, and Marte, who are struggling, are two guys that are not playing to the back of their baseball cards at all. If Canna is batting 240 and, providing a little bit more power, and Marte, who is hitting 70 points lower than his career average and not driving the ball, well, there's 2 guys in your lineup right there. Line there, and that is a base hit for the leadoff hitter. I agree, Ken. I think he's so concerned about hitting home runs that he needs to do what he did last year. He had maybe 4 or 5 weeks out of the whole year, where he was extremely hot hitting home runs, where he got the majority of his 14, 15 home runs last year. Canna just needs to be what Canna is, an on-base guy that finds weight and gets them hits every now and then when he needs them. All right, so they got a bunt, runner over to second base. And, looking at this Washington Nationals team that I know people, you look at it and, you just look at the record and say, oh, they're a bad team. They got a few young kids in this lineup, And you know what? They do things well, especially offensively. If you look at it, right, they put the bunt down, boom, right? Get the runner in scoring position. Something that the Mets did very well last year. And this guy, Meneses, who is a right up the middle, and that's going to be a first inning run for the Nationals once again. 1-0 Nationals. And I was just going to say Meneses, who's a guy who just does well with the bat and doesn't strike out a lot and put the bat on the ball. And, you know, pressure, and I mean, this is just a trend in the first inning. You know, again, good piece of hitting. A guy that's not trying to hit the ball out of the ballpark and hit a slow outfield right now, and a slow outfield right now. You know, it really is, Ken. It really is. Again, and, you know, people want to bring up the lineup all you want, but again, it's hard for any lineup to come back from every game. You just hope he limits the damage. That's the important thing, which McGill did yesterday. Uh-oh, that's not good. That might be gone. Hits off the wall. And is a shot to left center. And it is second and third with 1 out. Well, that's not what you want to see from Lucchesi. And again, this might be a shortened game with the rain. I know Stezo brought it up. You know, that's why you can't fold from behind every single game. I don't care how good your offense is. That crap takes a toll on you because it puts the pressure on the offense right away. Well, again, it comes back to our pitching. Again, Lucchesi, who shouldn't be in this rotation, right? That is a guy. Oh, wow. Thank God for the backstop. Oh, that's not a good sign for Joey Lucchesi. Yeah, I agree, Ken. Again, you know, you're seeing guys like Tyler McGill, who is a 5th starter at best. Joey Lucchesi, who is a guy that probably shouldn't be a starter in Major League Baseball, is a depth piece. And again, why are these guys pitching? Because Scherzer's not pitching. Quintana is out. Verlander just came back. That's why these guys are pitching.
So the middle infield is back, conceding a run on a ground ball hit up the middle. Corners are in. And ball takes up.
So the Mets infield is back, conceding the run to try to get an out here if there's a ground ball. Again, the Mets have been outscored 36-9 in the first inning.
36-9 now, and a chance for more for the Nats with second and third and 1 out.
Again, Lucchesi can't find the plate right now.
Smith standing on deck.
Yeah, that's it, Cezo. That's it. And again, it's glaring more that we showcase guys like David Peterson and Lucchesi and McGill, and there's a reason for that. All 4 bases loaded.
All 4, so now the bases are loaded for Dom Smith. And I can understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Senga was the only one left in the rotation for a month when Scherzer got pushed back and then suspended, and Verlander missed a month, and then Quintana out and Carrasco out. Senga was the only one left in the rotation. See, nobody brings that up though, right? Again, when you got Lucchesi, Peterson, and McGill, who none of those guys should be in your rotation to start the season if everybody was healthy. There's 1 out, JL. And that is the issue. And again, we keep on talking about the offense, but could we have a conversation once again about pitching? Because that's all I see on Twitter. That's all everybody bitches about in the chat for the majority of the time. When you're constantly coming from behind, it's hard to come back every single game. So they're bringing out new rosin. So the backup rosin bag is coming out of a Ziploc bag.
Where it's been, pristinely left with no chance of being contaminated.
Does it have the MLB stamp on it? It does. Is it true they keep it at Fort Knox for the gold?
They're changing the rosin because both of them are wet.
You know what? You know the old song, the Offspring song, got to keep separated. They got to keep the rosin away from the sunscreen.
Well, this is a a major operation here.
Well, Lucchesi's got himself in quite a pickle. He's already given up a run in the first inning. Doesn't have much of a grip.
Yes, I mean, come on. I mean, it gets ridiculous now with that stuff.
And he'll face Dom Smith.
Well, I agree because we're expecting Senga, who never pitched in Major League Baseball, who pitched every 7th day for 11 years in Japan, to say, hey, you're the only one left. Pitch every 5th day. The Mets' plan was never to pitch Senga every 5th day for the first month or two. But when you have to, and they still had to give him rest, well, you ran out of options because of the fact that everybody was hurt. All right, let's even get a double play ball here.
Dom takes the fastball down for ball 1.
Well, he might be pitching tomorrow, JL. All things considering, he looks like he's going to be pitching tomorrow.
It's coming down harder, that's for sure.
They might delay this game. The rain is coming down harder.
And now 2-0 to Smith, so that's 6 in a row out of the strike zone.
Again, some might have said that. I don't know why they started this game, to be honest. But, you know what? Joey Lucchesi got to pitch better. You know, he's got to come in with a strike here, and Dom Smith's going to be swinging. That's for sure. Ooh, ball 3. Just outside, but you're not going to get anything if you're not throwing strikes.
Last night we saw the umpire call Hamel.
KT, it was just that the rosin behind the pitcher's mound were wet, so they had to change it. All right, 3-0. And that is a very, very generous strike. But it is a strike.
He didn't call that need high strike all night.
A rough night. According to ump scorecards, he missed 21 pitches. That's a lot. 3-1 coming. And
Strike 2. All right.
strike, and now it's 3-2.
Dom was looking for a walk there.
Window shot.
Why not, right? They're not throwing strikes.
And now a full count for Lucchesi. Bases loaded, 1 out.
Come on, Joey. Let's go. Ground ball could be a double play. 1. Yeah, double play. There you go. That's a big double play by Joey Lucchesi to only give up 1 run in the first. As bad as he was, that is a good piece of pitching to come back from 3-0 and get the double play. 1-0 Nationals going to the top of the second. So that's exactly what we needed there. Again, limit the damage here, all right? It's raining. It's nasty outside. Let's go. And again, that's what Tyler McGill did yesterday. Again, he didn't start the first inning not that badly. But again, let's just get a quality start. Again, 2 or 3 runs nowadays, 5 innings is a quality start now. I mean, it sounds terrible, especially for us guys who are so used to seeing 7, in the past 7 innings, 1 run is a quality start. It ain't like that anymore, right? If you look at the new age of stats, a quality start is 5 innings, 2 runs. And that's embarrassing, but that's the way baseball is now. No, well, Andre, that's the other thing too. Again, that goes right back to the pitching. We want to kill the offense, but again, there's so many times I it's probably close to 25, 26 games that the Mets have trailed, had to come from behind prior to the 5th inning. It's hard to win ball games like that because no matter how good your offense is, it's hard to come back from a 4-5 run deficit. And it seemed like the Mets have been doing that by the 5th inning almost every game. And it's hard to win like that. I'm sorry. JL, I agree. I think that is a borderline quality start. 6 innings, 3 runs. I take that from a Mets pitcher, considering the way it's been. Well, yes, I mean, people go back to like, oh, they should have got the ground. They should have brought back the ground. They should have brought back Walker. They should have brought back Bassett. Bassett has been better over the last 2 weeks, but Bassett has been struggling. Again, Walker has a near 6 ERA, right? So, again, I still think Walker would have been a better pitcher with the Mets because of the ballpark he pitches in. But again, these guys are not like they're, the only thing they're doing is pitching every 5th day, which is considering probably we would have took that at this point, but they're not having quality starts either. Yesterday was Bassett's best game in probably 3 years. You know what I'm saying? So I agree, Ken, 100%. I just said that. I think he would. I think the ballpark and the new rule is a problem, and I think they put the tarp on the field because Alonso came back to the dugout. Let's see. Oh no, they're a pitch and calm issue. And again, if they stop this game in the second or third inning, they should have never started the game. This is the thing that it's been a problem with Major League Baseball around the league. If you look around the league, they've been delaying a lot of games after like the second inning. All right, so Pete Alonso's coming up, 1-0 Nationals. See if the Mets can get some offense here. Yeah, Ken, I agree.
Play on into the second inning. Pete Alonso takes a strike.
Well, KTU, I mean, he's pitching every fifth day, again, which is something that the Mets don't have. But Trevor Williams have a 4.5 ERA. So, I mean.
And he chases a slider out of the strike zone from Trevor Williams, and it's 0-2.
Yeah, he was excellent, but but again, would Trevor Williams be in this rotation if everybody was healthy? No, you would probably been a long man in the bullpen, which he was last year until we needed him. Come on, Pete. Pete's got to get going here. Yeah, so that was opening day actually at Citi Field. But again, you know what? There's too many games around baseball where they start the game knowing that the weather's pretty bad, and then they delay the game in the second or third inning, and it takes your starters out of a ball game if it's a long delay. I just never understood that with Major League Baseball. I don't get it. It's the second game of the series. If it was the last game of the series and it's travel day, I get it, trying to push through. But it's not. And Alonso slipped out of the batter's box. Again, the field is not pretty right now. You can see it's muddy.
I think it's the back foot here. Oh, he stepped on the front foot.
I wonder if anybody wears metal spikes after days like this.
Yeah, I mean, JL, that's got to hurt the Braves a little bit. I mean, a little bit.
Seventh pitch of the at-bat coming from Williams to Alonso.
Alonso reaches out. That might drop.
Second baseman, Garcia gets
Oh, second baseman got out there and got it. All right, nice play. 1 out.
Well, in that game on April 27th, that 9-8 Mets victory, Brett Beatty had a home run among his 3 hits against Trevor Williams.
All right, Brett Beatty had his best offensive performance against the Nationals against Trevor Williams. So let's see if he can get hot again because Beatty has been struggling. I think he's 1 for 13, if I'm not mistaken, 1 for 14. So he's got to get it together.
Last night, and fielder's choice, nothing later at bat grounded out.
Yeah, and it should hurt the Braves. I mean, that's your ace. Beatty. You know what? Even though Beatty's struggling, one thing that I like to see with at bats when you're struggling is not striking out a lot. He's been putting the bat on the ball, which I like to see.
Kind of pulling off. Because they come up and in and get him. It's swinging at that up and in pitch, which is always the toughest pitch to hit. And it's the pitch, if you're not looking in, it's the one pitch that you really have to work hard on as a hitter to lay off.
Come on, Brett.
Unless you got 2 strikes.
And strike 3. That's a nice pitch on the outside corner. And that's a situation where I'm surprised Beatty took that pitch. But again, you could see him pulling off the ball, and the outside pitch is like foreign to him right now. So that's a situation here, and it's really coming down hard, that rain.
That field was no good.
You think it was done? I thought they banned.
Marte is up, batting 6.
At Citi Field.
He is, Ken.
Terry Francona will be there with the Guardians this time. And we need to do a count of how many pieces of bubble gum he goes through in the course of the game.
And again, I think Marte is hurt because he just don't look right.
Well, he's trying to keep the
But-
tobacco sweet. Because what happens is that you wrap the tobacco with gum, and the gum gets kind of stale. So you take the stale gum off, you get some new gum in there, and you rewrap it so it stays sweet.
Seems like a lot of work.
It is. Well, we all, Ronnie, you and I, we know that some guys, a lot of guys, used to soak it with a bourbon.
Really?
Yes, especially the snuff.
Gross.
Marte flies one to right field. He just got under that again. He's just been underneath the ball. And the Mets go 1-2-3 in the second. Joey Lucchesi coming back on the mound. 1-0 Nationals. And again, you know what? For all the people, Cardenas, I think they should have done that a week ago with Marte. I think they should put him on the IL, bring up one of the kids, put McNeil to left field, even if it's Vientos. And you got to move McNeil to the outfield. And if you got to play Guillermo at second, and the Mets decide to bring up Vientos instead of Mauricio, and you have Mauricio DH every day because he's hitting righties and lefties at like the same pace. I would have done that already. I don't know why they're not going to do that. They look, I don't understand if somebody's actually hurt. And again, Marte's probably a culprit too because he's probably telling them, hey, I'm not hurt. But again, something's wrong because it's not his bat speed, honestly. Keith Hernandez have been talking about it almost every day, right? He doesn't see the lack of bat speed, which is a telltale sign that you might be done at his age. The bat speed is there. I think somebody look at the back speed like by I guess it was miles per hour or percentage wise. It's basically at the same clip. It's like down like 0.5 less. That's not enough to say that that's the problem. It's again, I think he's hurt. But again, if he's telling the Mets, I'm healthy, what are the Mets supposed to do? If there's nothing structurally wrong, and it might be just a nagging issue that is annoying, but it's clearly affected him. Well, Ken, what are you supposed to do? You know what I'm saying? Like, if there's nothing in the MRI that says there's something structurally wrong, and it's just a nagging injury, and Marte's telling you, no, I'm fine, what else are you supposed to do? Can you just put him on the IL and says, I'm putting you on the IL? Well, yeah, they could do that, but again, if the player says he's fine, I don't know what to do, to be honest with you. Oh, they're showing Bobby Valentine all his arguments. Yeah, Andre, I don't care what they do in the minor leagues because Brett Beatty seemed like every day was hitting home runs, and Brett Beatty has what, 2? Where's the power that we've seen in the minor league? Same thing with Alvarez. For everybody who loves Alvarez is batting 160 with runners in scoring position. So the run production, the run production that I want, are they really providing? No. So all that power that we see in the minor leagues is basically non-existent. All right, let's see if Joey Lucchesi can get settled down here. With that long inning and that dangerous inning in the first, he only had 17 pitches.
There was a lot of hitters in this lineup.
Ken, but again, we don't know what Cohen is doing behind the scenes, right? Right? We don't know. He might be yelling and screaming at them, but again, if your guys don't pitch, if your guys don't hit, I'm sorry, firing a pitching coach, firing a hitting coach is not going to change their fortune. The guys that are out there, like the guys that you're counting on, like Canner and Marte and Alonso, got to get it together. Buck Showalter can't go out there and hit. Buck Showalter can't go out there and pitch. Cohen can't do either. So it's like, it is what it is. I'm sick and tired of people telling me stats about guys doing in the minors because that means absolutely nothing, guys. It really does.
So if you're in the field, Keith, say playing first base, and that infield's getting shiny all around you, what precautions do you take? What do you do differently?
You always make sure the trainers would always have on the bench a bunch of thunder brush, and the pitchers need to make sure.
That is a shot, and that might hit the wall, and that hits off the wall. And that's he might get him. It's a bad throw, and that is a leadoff double. Well, Mark, you know what it is? People saw the Phillies fire Joe Girardi last year, and it changed the Phillies around. Even after they fired Joe Girardi, they were basically still a couple of games over 500 until the end of August when they really started to get hot. So was it the firing of Joe Girardi, or was it guys actually started pitching better? Guys started to hit to the back of their baseball cards. That's what it was. Let's not act like firing the manager was the end all be all.
And I think, and then also for pitchers too, is you've got to keep your.
I agree, but firing Hefner is going to is going to have Scherzer pitch every fifth day? No. Right? Firing the hitting coach. Is that going to make Alonso come out of his 2 for 21 slump? No.
So Garrett hitting 288, plays mostly against lefties.
Well, JL, yeah, I agree with that. But you know what? The Phillies lineup, who everybody continues to say is so damn good, Schwarber's not having the same season. Turner is not having the season everybody expected. Harper just came back, so what can you expect from him at this point right now?
That's why this team, Nationals, has good batting average against left-handed pitching, good on-base percentage against left-handed.
I understand that, but you know what? You're professional ball players. You're grown men. Grow a pair. Stop with the man. They had a stranglehold. Come on, guys. That's the same Joe Girardi that took a young team in 2017 to one game from the World Series. I mean, come on. Like, let's not act like. And that is fly ball to second, center field, excuse me, and the runner moves to third base with one out. You know, can we stop saying, they had strangleholds on? They're adults. You're grown-ass men. Grow a pair. You shouldn't be in the major leagues if the manager is going to affect you that much. I'm sorry. Can we stop with that crap? You know, as bad as the manager Aaron Boone is, the Yankees still find a way of making the playoffs, and they can't beat the Astros, but go far into the playoffs. Like, can we stop with that? When the manager is not that important anymore in Major League Baseball?
Sure, taking high for ball one.
Check out this route here by Candelario. This is like he wants to get in the line of the throw. He kind of does a rainbow in there, but really wasn't necessary. I mean,
Come on, Joey.
the ball was hit deep enough.
You know, Joey cannot get that curveball over, and that's been the problem. Getting behind every batter. Ken actually said that as well.
Abrams hitting 258 against lefties, better than he is against righties. Nats as a team are hitting 292 against left-handed pitching. And takes fastball for a strike, 2-1.
Yeah, but Ken, what does that do for the Yankees? That gets them in the same spot in the playoffs every year, and they lose either earlier or in the same spot in the playoffs every year. So it doesn't change their outcome. Ground ball, runner hold, and there'll be 2 outs. Good job by Guillermo right there.
You see that? Candelario stuck in third now with 2 outs.
You know, again, people want to fire Buck Showalter. They're good. Fire him. Who's going to be the manager? Chavez, who already made a stupid call by pinch hitting Luis Guillorme instead of Escobar or leaving Canner out there. Come on. Like, who are you replacing him with? And Boone is for show. Come on, guys. Like, come on. Does that really matter? Does that really make a difference? Because how many times did Boone come out and fight last year, and the Yankees were basically 500 since June? But it doesn't matter. The Mets won 101 games last year without Buck Showalter getting thrown out. So what does that tell you? Does that really matter? Joe Girardi used to get thrown out every single game. Did that help him, the players play better? No. Wally Backman. Yeah, okay. Popped it up, and it should end the inning, hopefully, because the raindrops are a problem. All right, 3 outs. There we go. So Lucchesi gets out of a little bit of a jam here and still continues to only give up 1 run at the moment. So that's a good sign. Again, Wally Backman. Again, why hasn't the other 29 teams in baseball go after Wally Backman? Could we stop about Wally Backman, please? Let's not talk about it. No, and that's the other thing, Ken. And I just said that after the first inning. After all of that, he only threw 17 pitches in the first inning. And what is it, just under 30 or just over 30 after 2 innings, which is pretty good. Yeah, you admit, again, well, that's a problem. If that's the case, the Mets should have, kept Porter as their GM after he sent penis pictures to women. Like, all right, but Andre, who are you replacing him with? That's what I don't understand, right? They had a guy under Joe Girardi that never had managerial. Rob Thompson barely had managerial experience. Can we act like that was the only reason? Was it all of a sudden the bullpen started to pitch better, so Rob Thompson gets all the credit for that, or did it actually just started to pitch better? Like in middle of August when the Mets went down there, Philly fans were walking out of the ballpark in the 7th inning saying how much of a disaster that team was, and Rob Thompson was the manager at that time. So let's not act like the manager was the only issue, was the only reason. They started to play better. They started to actually get a little bit more offense. They started to, the bullpen, which was the worst in the league last year, started to pitch better. Their defense got a little bit better prior to the awfulness, right? Can Joe Girardi tell their shortstop, the third baseman, to stop making throwing errors? No. Well, can you get mad at me when there's back and forth, but when it's back and forth with you don't mind? All right, let's see if the Mets can get some runs going here. They got no hits in the first 2 innings, and the grounds crew is putting all this extra dirt on there, which is ridiculous because they shouldn't be starting this game on time. Because you know it's bad when the infield is shiny. So why they're trying to get this game in now makes no sense to me.
So in that game, Max Fried credit for
Yeah, but Ken, is that a compliment because I'm bantering with you only? Or is it when I spend 10 minutes on somebody bantering, you don't like it? My idol Nemo? Well, yeah, but they're not bringing Beltran in to manage. They're not doing that. And if Beltran comes in and he replaces Buck and he's terrible and makes bad decisions, we'll kill him and then we'll want him fired. I mean, come on. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can talk about Beltran, but the Mets are not bringing Beltran here, right? The top story is going to be, well, he's a cheater. The same thing he got fired for.
Williams has retired the first 6, while Lucchesi has waded in and out of trouble through the first 2 innings.
Let's see if Vogelback actually puts the bat on the ball and he swings. How about that? And by the way, tomorrow is Mother's Day, and look at that. The Braves, who were out to a 2-0 lead, is now tied. Must be hard to beat the good teams. So again, Max Fried is going to be out until July. Kyle Wright is a problem that might not be back for a while. And there's 2 guys in that rotation that has been good for them. And that is a base hit for Vogelback. And now he'll clog up the bases. Oh, I know you can. I know you. Well, KTU, listen. Honestly, Vogelback in this lineup has been our best hitter. I know that's hard to say, and that's coming from me who can't stand Vogelback. He is batting .275. You know, he's been basically our better consistent hitters. Luis Guillorme is up with 1 on and nobody out.
His best offensive game of the season Wednesday at Cincinnati, 2 for 3, a double and a walk.
Well, I can care less about 06 at this point. That really doesn't matter. It has nothing to do with him managing. He is not the Mets manager because of the fact that he was caught in that cheating scandal and the Mets didn't want to deal with that. And Guillorme hits a shot to left center, but with no power, it's right to the center fielder. Well, Ken, that is the other issue. Again, we didn't get Vogelback to hit singles and walks. People don't seem to understand that when you try to criticize Vogelback. So here is Michael Perez up with the big league club. And we saw a little bit of he had a couple of moments for the Mets last year in Philly, to be exact. So Michael Perez, not known for his offense, but he doesn't strike out a lot. He puts the bat on the ball, which is something the Mets need to do a little bit more of. KTU, it's not even about getting hits. I'm not looking for you to get base hits. He's here for power, and he's turned it to a 0 when it comes to power. and this rain. And I'm going to tell you right now, if they call this game early and the Mets lose because of early postponement, that's a problem.
Bubbles now on the right side of the infield.
Like, I don't understand why they started this game on time.
Bubbles, yeah.
Even if the Mets win, I mean, we'll take it. But if the Mets win because the game ends after the 5th inning,
This reminds me of that
It's a
World
problem.
Series game in 2008 that they tried to play through with Tampa Bay and Philadelphia, and they finally stopped it after 5 innings and resumed it later on. You can't play in these conditions. This is wrong.
Where they told the announcers not to mention the rain.
Right. Paul Emmel is in charge of this crew. Perez backs out.
and here's the other problem
Fastball 2-2.
If I remember correctly,
with the umpires letting this game start, right? You got a guy in Joey Lucchesi that pitch count is low, probably can go 5 innings. If there's a long rain delay, he's out of the game. Now you got to use your entire bullpen. That's a problem. And this is why I don't understand. They have 2 more games to play. They're both day games where you can finish up the game. It just makes no sense to me. And Perez hits a shot right to the center fielder, and he misses it. Run, Vogie, run, you fat bastard. And Michael Perez gets a 1-out double, and Vogelback gets to third. Second and third, there you go. Bat on the ball. How about that? My God. Put the bat on the ball, and the center fielder misjudged it. There you go. And now Jesus Christ. And now they delay the game. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
So the play is halted with runners at second and third and 1.
Absolutely ridiculous.
And if the game does not resume, it would be a suspended game. It would be finished tomorrow.
And, of course, they put the tarp on the field after there's something going on in the middle. And this is the thing that we just talked about. And, again, if the game gets suspended, they got to restart the game where it's at tomorrow. And, again, this is the whole point I'm talking about. Now, I don't know. I'm going to check and this is the problem right here. Michael Perez, look, this is just what happened, right? The umpire, I guarantee you, called the tarp on the field because the center fielder misjudged the ball, and he probably thought it was the weather. There's your problem right there, right? I don't think it was because the rain. He misjudged it, right? Should have been an out, but oh well, right? And here's the problem that we fall into. 1-0 Nationals. The Mets actually have something going here, which, again, that shouldn't be the issue as it is. Well, Andre, that's the whole point I'm trying to make. It's a 4 o'clock game. If the rain was supposed to clear up in 2 hours, that would be 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. They should have started the game at 7 o'clock then. And that is the issue that we're talking about. Why now, if this game doesn't start until 6:30, say, Joey Lucchesi's out of the game. So the Mets got to use their entire bullpen now with no days off. No, it's not. Why would this benefit the Mets? Now, if Joey Lucchesi's out of the game, that means you got to use more pitchers in your bullpen for the next 6 innings. And on top of that, the Mets have second and third with the top of the order coming up. I'm sorry. This is a bad job at Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball has control now over all the games. It's not about the home team anymore. The home team gets a bigger say in starting the game later. Yeah, but Stezo, again, that still hurts us because you still got to use your bullpen tomorrow. And then what happens when Scherzer start tomorrow in the second game? Now, could the Mets make Scherzer start the suspended game? I would do that. And that is the problem when it comes down to it. Major League Baseball, now again, the home team gets a little bit more say, but at the end of the day, the call comes from Major League Baseball. If you see that it's going to clear up by 6:30, why start the game? And this is not just about the Mets either, right? This also goes to the Nationals as well, right? You take Trevor Williams out of the game, they got to use their bullpen. And if this was a travel day and the last game of the series, I get why they wanted to try to play it through. But it's game 2 of a 4-game series when both games, Sunday and Monday, are day games. That's a problem. It's stupid. And I just don't understand it. I just don't understand it. I just don't get it. It's so stupid. I just don't get it. You know, the Monday's game is at 4:00. You could play the suspend. You could play the first game at 1. No. Well, no, KTU, they can change the game that it starts. They can. They could have delayed the game and said start time is going to be at 6:30. They can do that. But they don't do that. If there's a 2-hour window where they said it's going to clear up by 6:30, and I'm going to check right now DC's weather, because I always got all the places I go to, I usually have the weather just to be safe, you know? Let's see. All right, hold on, guys. Let me get my handy dandy radar. All right, let's see. Yeah, see, here's the problem right here. Now, it basically rained all day there. That's what I don't understand. Like, this game should have never started. This game should have been postponed until tomorrow. Like, it's been raining all day. There's about a 50% chance of rain. There's 70% chance from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. 7 p.m. it's 81%, and 8 p.m. it's 49%. It's not going to start slowing down until 9 p.m. So why start this game? Yeah, but here we go, Ken. The rain looks like it's not going to stop until 9 p.m. Joey Lucchesi's not coming back into that ball game. You know, and you're not going to put Joey Lucchesi in there tomorrow. And that is the issue that I'm talking about. There needs to be more of a plan for Major League Baseball umpires. Who didn't see the radar? Because I knew it rained in Washington, D.C. all day. It's ridiculous. They're not going to restart this game. They're going to delay. They're going to suspend the game, and they're going to start it tomorrow. So now the Mets, who just get back Scherzer tomorrow's game, do you pitch them in the suspended game in the 3rd inning? Or do you hold them off and go through a bullpen game in the suspended game? I don't know. So I'm gonna keep this going up until 5:30. If the game doesn't start by then, which I don't think it's going to, I'm gonna stop the stream because there's no point in just having a conversation for 6 hours about nothing. So once again, the Mets get into a situation, and by the way, this is just not a Mets situation either. Look around baseball. They've been doing this a lot. This is why Major League Baseball and people are pissed off by it. You know, and you know, this is going to affect the Mets. That's why I'm talking about it more. Because of the fact that the New York Mets, who have problems pitching through 5 innings with their starters and using a bullpen a ton, is most likely going to have to use this bullpen, even if it's tomorrow or today, a lot. And the Mets don't have an off day until what, Monday? I'm sorry, no, not even Monday, I don't think. No, they don't have an off day. And I think until, I don't even know when. Hold on, let me check. Let's see. They don't have an off day until the 22nd. So another 9 days, 10 days. I mean, come on. Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if this was a getaway day and it was the last game of the series, I can see them trying to play through it, or, you know, delaying the game and trying to finish it up in the same day. I get that. But you have 2 day games, tomorrow 1:00 on Mother's Day and Monday at 4:00. You can fit that other game in. And but that is the other problem with the balanced schedule. Again, this is a division game, so it's not going to be that big because you play them again. But when the Mets were in Detroit, if that game got rained out or postponed or couldn't play it, the Mets will have to travel back to Detroit in August on one of their off days. It's stupid. It just doesn't make no sense. That's why they should not even start games and postpone the games rather than, especially when it's not a game that is a travel day. They should never do that. It's just stupid. And it makes no sense. It made no sense to start. It rained all day. And they try to start the game with 70% chance of rain from the start of the game up until 8 o'clock. It makes no sense. Yeah, you can't do that. When there's a suspended game, that game starts as your current roster. You can't change your roster for that game. You can change it for the second game. You can't change it for that game. You have to have the same 26-man roster from the start of from the suspended game. So no, they can't do that. Yeah, and it's only a 2-game series in London. I ain't gonna lie, KTU. I'm actually excited about that. I already are making plans to go to London. Like I'm doing that. And I don't know if it's they didn't really say if it, because you don't really know with the schedule not being out yet, if it's a Mets home game or a Phillies, who's losing the home games. I'm pretty sure that it's probably going to be Philly because I don't think the Mets are going to be willing to lose 2 home games, but you never know. So they're going back to the 2022 yearbook. But again, it comes back to the fact that in Major League Baseball right now, especially with a balanced schedule, again, this is not really affecting because it's 2 division teams that play each other again, where the Mets come back to Washington one more time this year. But it's around baseball, starting games when it's pouring, raining, when they could easily postpone the game because they're not going to restart this game. It just doesn't make sense. It really does make no sense to me. Yeah, I agree, KTU. The other game where the Mets, where they put that suspension against who the hell was it? I forgot who it was against. But they suspended that game. They had to restart it. Like it's just stupid to me, really stupid to me. So once again, guys, the Mets are in a rain delay. The game that should have never started because it actually makes no sense at all. And again, I just looked at the weather in DC. It rained all day today. Even if it's light rain coming into the game, knowing that the rain forecast showed 60 to 70% chance of rain from the start of the game until 8 o'clock tonight, 9 o'clock tonight, basically. Makes no sense. I can care less about grammar. We're talking about sports here. Like we don't have to be grammatically correct. I just don't care. All right. I'm not trying to win awards here. So yeah. So once again, we find out that it rained all day in DC. Clearly, the umpires were staying in a hotel in DC, so they clearly stood in DC. So they knew the weather. They don't have to look at the forecast to know the weather. And here we go again. The New York Mets get in a situation where a suspended game can not only get your starter out of a game, which Joey Lucchesi wasn't pitching great, but his pitch count was low enough where he could have pitched 5 innings, save the bullpen. So whenever this game gets started or suspended or restarted, you got to use the bullpen. So it sucks. So I just don't know. So I don't know if there's any updates as of yet. Let me just check Twitter. And everybody's talking about why they start this game. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, just nothing. Again, people are talking about even reporters that are there at the game. This game should never started. And people keep on talking that the rain is supposed to stop after 6 p.m. No, it's not. Like, what do you consider stopping? 70% chance? No. It's been 60 and 70% chance of rain until 9 o'clock. So that's wrong. So whoever said that is retarded. It's stupid. Excuse me, I don't like to use that one. Let's see. All right, guys. So, unfortunately, I don't think this game's going to restart. So, we're going to say our final thoughts. This game is not going to start until later today, if it does at all. So, once again, the Mets are in a rain delay. It was the third inning. The Mets actually got the first two guys on. It was second and third with nobody out. And I'm sorry, one out. And the umpires put the tarp on the field. So if this game does not resume today, it will be a suspended game, and they restart the game from where it was at with the runners on the bases, that exact inning and outs, either tomorrow, which most likely would happen. And unfortunately, I don't think this game's going to start. So I'd rather be watching the Mets right now, hanging out with you guys. But again, we can't do that because Major League Baseball is so stupid. And it's been all around baseball. There's been multiple games, a lot of games that have been suspended when games should have never started in Major League Baseball around the league. So with that said, guys, the Mets had a rally going in the third inning. Possibly could have done some damage with the top of the order coming up at second and third with one out. But we won't know that because Major League Baseball decides to every which way not do their jobs well at all. So once again, to Rob Manfred, you're an idiot. Your umpires follow your lead and are idiots. And I hope somebody that might be a part of Major League Baseball, maybe a fan of baseball, and that is in the Major League Baseball offices that find a way to actually watch this stream. You guys can't do your jobs well at all. And I hope you get this. And for everybody that want them to hear this, please share this on your social media pages. Please hit this like button. Share it on Twitter. Share it on Facebook, Instagram. Share it on YouTube. Whatever you got to do. You're allowed to embed this. You're allowed to put it on YouTube. You're allowed to put it anywhere on social media. I allow that for you guys to do that. Share it. And at MLB, if you're on Twitter or Facebook or wherever you use social media, TikTok, Snapchat, wherever, tag Major League Baseball, and I'm going to say it one more time. Rob Manfred and the people who work in those offices, along with your umpires, you guys can't do your job at all. Constantly around Major League Baseball, you start games that should have never started because of rain. And not only do you affect one team, you affect both teams with starting pitching and got to use your bullpen more because the idiotic decisions that your umpires, your front offices, your offices, and Rob Manfred make because you can't read a radar. And it comes down to the fact that you guys are idiots. So please share this to your social media pages. Tag Major League Baseball so they hear this and they see this. You can't start a game that's been raining all day and there is no signs of slowing down until 9 o'clock tonight. That is a bad job by Major League Baseball. Get it together. With that said, there's no point in keeping this going because this game is not going to start for the next couple of hours. And it is the third inning, top of the third. Nationals lead 1-0. The Mets would have had second and third with 1 out. And if this game gets suspended, they will restart the game from that point tomorrow. Once again, guys, I thank you for tuning in for a stupid decision by Major League Baseball and the umpires. And MB, thank you for the super chat. I do appreciate it. I don't think it's going to happen because of the fact that the forecast shows at very least 70% chance of rain until 8 o'clock tonight. And it's stupid. They should have never started the game. With that said, everybody have a great rest of your night. I think there's some, for us Knicks fans, unfortunately, we got no more basketball. We got no more hockey playoffs, unfortunately. So with that said, enjoy the rest of your day, guys. The New York Mets get stuck in another possible suspended game where they're probably going to have to use more bullpen over the next 2 days. And that, unfortunately, is a problem with the Mets. Jimmy, they started the game in basically hard rain where it's been raining in D.C. all day, and it shows no signs of stopping until around 8:30, 9 o'clock tonight. And now the game is suspended in the third inning, and the Mets, again, can't get a pitcher through the fifth inning because not because of Joey Lucchesi not pitching with his pitch count, because Major League Baseball can't realize when they actually start a game on time and when they should not start a game on time. With that said, guys, everybody have a good rest of your night. Hopefully, Major League Baseball gets it together, but they probably won't. You might see 2 games tomorrow, depending on when the game starts. I can't do a stream tomorrow for the game, so unfortunately, we don't get that, but I will do a stream most likely on Monday because it's a 4 o'clock game. So with that said, guys, everybody have a great night. Hopefully, you enjoy your night and your Saturday. As always, Met fans, let's go Mets. I'll see you next time, guys. Most likely the stream for the Mets game will be on Monday. So I'll see you guys then. I can't because I got to go to work, MB, unfortunately. So, unfortunately, everybody have a great night. Let's go Mets. I'll see you next time, guys. See you on Monday.
Teamwork.